What the city is talking about.
The news that impacts you.
Welcome to the Montreal Now podcast
with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
Welcome to another edition of The Week That Was here on the iHeartRadio Network. I'm Aaron Rand along with Natasha Hall, and this week we'll cover these stories. The City of Montreal introduced its long-awaited light rail transit system known as the REM this past week, and well, let's just say things didn't quite go as planned, especially for one man and his wife whose night out ended up in a garage, and not their own.
When you're on vacation, does your fitness routine go on vacation too? We spoke to a fitness expert who had some great tips on how to stay on track even when you're traveling or enjoying some time off. Also, how long have we been talking about the possibility of a 4-day work week? A long time, right? But some companies are actually doing it, and both employees and employers are reaping the benefits. Could this be in your future?
And Canadians learned this week of the split between Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie Gregoire Trudeau after 18 years of marriage. But beyond our borders, it was a news story that generated coverage around the world. We spoke to Evan Solomon to get his take on the news and its impact. The story that I guess fair to say surprised most Canadians, the announcement jointly announced by Sophie Gregoire Trudeau and Justin Trudeau that they were separating after 18 years of marriage.
Yeah, well, we were saying it was kind of a surprise and kind of wasn't, because the rumor mill had been swirling forever, but I don't think we ever actually expected the marriage to end, certainly not while Trudeau was still in office.
Yeah, that's one of the questions too, right? It was publicly announced yesterday. Some people question, well, why bother announcing it at all? Why not kind of keep it? It's personal, it's private, and let it sort of stay where it's supposed to stay. But anyway, that's after the fact now. We also mentioned at some point, and a few of our texters mentioned when we asked the question, hoping that none of the other political leaders in this country would use the opportunity to do anything political. Now, I should tell you, we haven't heard from all of them, but I want you to hear this. Jagmeet Singh earlier this afternoon asked about the separation, and said the following.
I know what happened yesterday is seen as private matters, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the Prime Minister's separation announcement yesterday. Do you have any message you would like to share with Trudeau and the family on behalf of the party?
Well, I just want to acknowledge that this is an incredibly difficult time for anyone to have to go through a separation. It's a very difficult thing, and particularly to go through a separation in the public eye. And I just want to acknowledge how difficult that is for not only Mr. Trudeau and his wife, but also for his children. And I also want to acknowledge the impact it could have on his kids, and in their request for privacy, respect that is what they've been calling for, and respect that.
Okay. Good answer.
Can you really respect their privacy?
Regardless, that is what he's saying, and that's something we should strive to do,
I
right? like
everything that he said. I just don't know if it's realistic when you're such public figures on the international stage, no less.
Maxime Bernier, on the other hand, said the following yesterday. He tweeted this out. He was first of the, if we call him a political leader. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to read you what Maxime Bernier wrote from the People's Party of Canada. And this is the quote. "What really matters is not that Trudeau leaves his wife, is that he leaves the office of the Prime Minister," unquote.
Like, way to take the high road, buddy.
Tone deaf? Embarrassing? I don't know. We wanted to get Evan Solomon to weigh in on this. He's a special correspondent for CTV News, publisher of GZERO Media, and you used to hear him on the air here every day until he left us to move to New York.
Way to go, Evan.
Yeah, nice going. Evan, how are you?
I am good. I will be happy to say that both my kids live in Montreal because they go to McGill, so I'm in your fair city all the time.
Well, we're happy
We're
to hear
glad
that.
to hear that.
So let me ask you, obviously you're still very much, a follower of Canadian politics, and now that you're based in the US, were you surprised, or is there reason to be surprised by how much international attention this story has gathered?
Yeah, and we still, one of our newsletters, GZERO North, we write about Canadian politics and U.S. politics, so I still very much follow it. Look, there's a personal side to this, and there's a political side, and we should be very careful on both. As Jagmeet Singh said, and as Justin Trudeau said, this is personal. These are very public figures, but they have a personal life. Their parents raising 3 kids. Justin Trudeau knows about this. He went through it. He lived it when his own parents had a very public divorce. He was one of 3 kids as well. It's very painful. And he wrote about that in his 2014 book, Common Ground. So there's a personal side. The kids are unelected. Leave them out of it. They didn't choose this. They are not political figures. Sophie Gregoire Trudeau's in the middle. She is clearly been used as for the political branding of Mr. Trudeau. She, in fact, like the role. There's no formal, quote, first lady role in Canada, but remember, she said at one point, I need more staff to serve people. I need to help. I want to do stuff. So, personally, I would say, yes, we have to respect their privacy. But as you said, it's not that easy because politicians use their families all the time for their brand. It's not exploitation. They've got to be relatable. And politics is a family affair, but politics is not fair to families. And the politician is never there, especially if it's the prime minister. It's just a brutal life, and it has a cost, and we've seen that. But the question is, especially for Mr. Trudeau, who's been both a political and a public figure his whole life, and also has a personal life, where's the line? In 2014, before he ran, he wrote a book, Common Ground. I interviewed him. I was then the host of Power and Politics on CBC, and I asked Mr. Trudeau in his book, my rule as a journalist, I never care about someone's personal life. I never talk about it. It's off limits to me unless there's three categories. Number one, does something rise to the public interest? Something in their personal life that could cause blackmail or cause a security risk. Two, something in their personal life impacts their ability to perform their duties. Alcoholism, physical ailment. And finally, three, if they have raised it proactively themselves, which is exactly what Mr. Trudeau did in 2014. He's a young guy, he's starting out, he's just about to win this shock election of 2015. And in his book, he wrote, we've had difficult times in our marriage, we've had ups and downs. Now, I didn't ask him to write that. Nobody was asking him to write that about his marriage, but he decided he would. So, of course, it becomes, quote, political fodder. I asked him on air on national television, what do you mean? He explained. Now, remember, this is 2014. We've already experienced Bill Clinton. It was a very similar language that Clinton had used. So I asked him point blank, is that political coded language for extramarital affairs? And he said, no, but sometimes Sophie hates my job because I love it so much. And it was a very candid, open admission. But he had proactively brought up the guts of his marriage in his own book. So that made it, tread carefully, but we talked about it. Now, here we are in 2023. I won't talk about what's going on between them. I wish them the best. I wish their kids the best, like I would anybody. But politically, yeah, there's going to be consequences.
And in terms of, I loved what you said about him being relatable and talking about his marriage so openly. It makes him human, right? It makes you think, okay, he is a normal guy. So now that he is, the marriage is splitting up, does that help or hurt him? Does he become more relatable because, marriages fail?
That's a great question. I have to tell you that, I've already had talks with, insiders both in Canada and politicians who are asking that question. So I think the best thing, first of all, you don't know what the impact's going to be. But what we do know is his father went through this. Now, back in the 1970s, like 40 years ago, it did actually, the divorce helped Pierre Trudeau, partly because Margaret Trudeau had a very public life that at the time was deemed salacious. The kids ended up staying with Mr. Trudeau, the prime minister, and he was seen as, it helped humanize a kind of icy, lofty intellectual. And he was a dad trying to raise his kids, and it helped him. Mm-hmm. But back then, the press didn't really talk about the private lives of public figures. This is a very different world 40 years later. Social media, there's no contract with sort of, quote, mainstream media. There's 1,000 different outlets. So on one scenario, yes, it makes Mr. Trudeau look more relatable. He's a dad. We've all had families are hard. Divorce or separation is difficult. It could be the other way, like Max Bernier. It could be like, wow, his wife has left him. The voters are leaving him. That could be a narrative. It could be that some outlet discovers some cause, like the landmine that blew up the marriage. Somebody did something, someone didn't. I don't know. I'm not speculating. If that comes out, it would change the narrative. Mr. Trudeau Sr., when he and Margaret split up, he started dating, public figures like Barbara Streisand. Like, okay, does that start to happen? So I think it's too early to tell. Okay. This is a very raw, private moment. But I think you are 100% right. There will be speculation because families matter, being relatable matters. Is this going to provide some political change, of course, with how people regard a family? But I would just say this, the cost of public life is high.
Which is, of course, other people suggesting this is why people don't want to get into politics to a degree, because you're in that spotlight. And of course, when something like this happens, you're in it even more. Evan, we're going to run out of time. I want to ask you one last thing. Internationally, the thing that's kind of surprised us, and maybe it shouldn't have, is how much attention this story is drawing internationally. Should we be surprised? Should we be surprised?
Trudeau's an international brand. This is not just the Prime Minister of Canada. I mean, Justin Trudeau, when he arrived on the scene, everyone knows the name because it's the Trudeau name, the Canadian Kennedy name. Famous guy, young guy, gets on the scene. Now he's the longest-serving member of the G7, so he's been on the political scene for a long time. Young and glamorous couple. So, no, it's got lots of coverage. It's very rare that a G7 leader's marriage splits up openly like this. So, yeah, it's getting a lot of attention. But I would just say this, I'm happy to do sort of unemotional political analysis. But I always think people should remember the basic decency of humanity. Somewhere in the crazy social media, there's 3 kids involved. There's 2 parents. They're trying to figure something out. And divorce or separation is always painful. Yeah. Doing it in the public light is like open heart surgery without an anesthetic. And it must be brutal.
Evan Solomon. Evan, thank you so much for the time. Great talking to you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great to connect.
Informative, interactive, and always interesting.
This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
Even when you're traveling or enjoying some time off.
Want to get to a story here because this is something I'm not sure. When you're away, do you work out at all? Do you find time to work out? I'll take that as a no. Okay. Now, I try to, but
I think about it.
Yeah, I think about it as well. But the interesting part of this story is, and Jill Barker's going to join us in a sec. So let's say you're on vacation, right? You're going out there. Now, if you work out ordinarily during the week all the time, right? Then that's fine. You could maybe take some time off, a week, 2 weeks, whatever else. But if you don't, and you figure, well, no, I'm on vacation, I'll find some time to work out because I don't do this at home. You're not going to do that either. But there is a way to do it.
It's just about maintaining routine, right? I don't know. I really do think about it, and I think, I'm going to have more time, and so yes, I'll want to work out, and then But
that's against routine. Routine would be if you, like I said, if you're already doing it, you're in a different place, you'll still find time to do it.
Dave's pretty good that way.
Assuming there's somewhere you can go.
I'm surprised you're not better that way. I would think you would be.
Yeah. Well, the gym at the place I went was a floor. And
darn!
There was nothing there. I don't know what to do. Like Val knows what to do, but I would have no idea. Just get on the floor and pretend you're working out. But if you're in vacation mode and you are traveling, and yes, that fitness routine has kind of gone out the window. Jill Barker, Montreal Gazette health reporter, with some tips for you here on what you can do to try to at least stay in some kind of shape. Jill, thanks for being here.
Hey, my pleasure.
So do you have a routine?
Yeah, I have a routine. I can't say that I haven't had to change it. Because when I arrived, things weren't exactly as I had planned. And I'm like most fitness people. I love routine, and I love my own gym and my own things. Mm-hmm. So that throws me off, when I go somewhere else. So I have my things that I bring with me, and that familiarity kind of gets me through that difficult time. If, they don't have the equipment that I like or that I'm used to.
So when you say you bring your own, I'm going to guess are you bringing bands? What are you bringing?
Yeah, I normally I have bands. If it's a car thing, if I'm driving, kettlebell. So
really?
I'll do a kettlebell. I always have, I'm a runner, so I always have running shoes. If I don't run, then I use them to walk or, do some type of activity. But, I always have running shoes. And I have my trusty fitness apps, which I can use regardless. And, my iPad, et cetera, that I can, do a workout on. And that's got me through the worst of the worst hotels. That has been enough.
I'm curious because I see people like in the gym. I happen to have a gym in the building I live in, and that's great because it's convenient and it's a lot easier than having to, get in a car or go to a gym, for me anyway. but I see people using apps all the time. And I wonder, as someone who sort of does this, could you recommend a couple of apps to people who perhaps have not done this, but think, you know what, if I could just have my iPad or my iPhone with me and see a routine that I could follow that's not too complicated, I would.
Yeah, I use Apple Fitness Plus just because I tend to have a lot of Apple products, so it all works. It's great for me. Peloton, you don't have to have a Peloton bike, but they have also an app, and they have, both those options. They have everything from meditation to HIIT classes to, there's just yoga, a million different options of different time frames as well. So from 10 minutes to 45 to 60 minutes. And that's important. And then Nike, those are both paid apps, monthly paid. But Nike has a Nike Training, and that's a free app, and it's very good. And you can use that as well. And then I have a down dog that has great yoga and HIIT classes. So any one of those is worth looking into. I don't mind paying, to be honest, because it means I love my stats. So wherever I go, I know the instructors I like, I know the workouts I like, I add to my workout stats, and that's motivating for me.
I will point out, when you said HIIT class, this is not a class where you get to hit somebody.
No.
It stands for high intensity interval
training.
Okay. Just in case someone thought, what, there's an app where I get to hit someone? No, that's not it.
I'm curious, Jill, like in listening to you, obviously, this is your job and this is something that fuels you, that you take very seriously. I am not that. I'm someone who does Pilates once a week if it's a good week. And then I think about doing it when I'm traveling, like I said, but any excuse is a good excuse to not do it. And my Pilates instructor, she's amazing. Shout out to Marnie. She puts the classes, like she'll send us links so that we can do the classes wherever we are, whenever we want to, right? But I don't do it, Jill. So how do you get yourself into a mindset of where on vacation you're not like, all bets are off, I'm just going to have another margarita?
Well, first of all, there's no reason not to have another margarita. It's vacation.
Hear, hear.
There's no reason to think, if you're dedicated to a regular workout daily, 3 times a week, whatever, you have to maintain that schedule. No, it's your vacation. But sometime during your vacation, you may feel the need to move a bit more, to exercise. That's when you have action. Don't feel, the whole idea of vacation is not to follow the same routine. The other thing I think it's really important on vacation is to take advantage of where you are. I was just in Maine. I ran on the beach. I mean, awesome. Awesome. And I don't normally run in the summer, but running on the beach early in the morning, a light fog, couldn't have been better.
Right, because it feels like vacation still. I like that a lot.
Or just holding the margarita on the beach in the light
You
fog.
can't run with the margarita.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I play paddleball on the beach. We just take advantage of what's special about the place you're going and then try that. Instead of maybe, going to another indoor gym, I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to give that a rest and try to be outside or be with your family. Renting e-bikes, like I was in San Francisco and we rented e-bikes, and oh my God, that was fun. Because San Francisco is so hilly, it's not easy, for a family to go out and all kind of stay together. But the e-bike is the equalizer, and that's not what E stands for, by the way. But so that was really fun, and you can put as much effort or as little effort into an e-bike rental as and you're outdoors, you're getting some exercise, and you're seeing the city in a different way than you would in a car.
I hadn't thought of you actually pedal an e-bike, or does it do all the work for you? Or how does
you can put as much assistance as you want.
Oh.
So, and I was in Toronto and I did the waterfront on an e-bike, and that was also super fun.
Okay.
I like this. I like the way just keeping active. Because we are quite active often on vacation. And so that just sort of incorporating that into your mode of being out of your regular routine. A technical question for you. You talked about bringing your running shoes everywhere with you. Would you travel in the same shoes that you run in? I know people, it's good to travel in running shoes so you can be comfortable.
I do not. I have my comfortable travel shoes, but I have my running shoes, which are dedicated really for running.
Okay.
And I just, I kind of slip them around my carry-on, as like they're loose. I think it looks super cool to have your running shoes. Just
I like that, actually. Yeah.
That's how I used to travel, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're not cramming them into the suitcase, taking up precious space.
And
I like this.
Taking up, the space for whatever else you need. So yeah, that's what I do. And I have been known, like in a delay, to put my running shoes on and I don't run in the airport in my clothes. I'm not like a crazy, but I have been, like power walks or whatever because sometimes you just need to burn off some energy.
And helps keep you sane.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Great tips.
Stuck somewhere.
Hey, Jill, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Take care,
Okay.
Jill Barker from the Gazette. What you can do to basically do what you have to do to just keep busy, stay fit. You don't have to go to a gym.
I dig so much of what she said.
I didn't know that about e-bikes. I thought e-bikes you got on, you just, boom, you're gone. You don't have to pedal, you don't have to anything.
Oh, you can pedal.
But you can set how much exercise or how much exertion you want. Mm-hmm. I have to get an e-bike now. Can you rent e-bikes?
Yeah, of course.
Can you?
Yeah, here you can right here in Montreal.
An e-bike?
Bixie has e-bikes.
Well, that's if you're Bixie. I mean, can you go somewhere else and rent an e-bike?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Why would you when you can just go get a Bixie?
I'm not really sure.
Informative, interactive, and always interesting.
This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
Employees and employers are reaping the benefits. Could this be in your future?
So yes, this subject of 4-day work weeks has come up several times on the show before, and everyone loves the idea. At least almost everyone loves the idea. We heard from some employers that didn't love it that much. But it's interesting because there's an advocacy group now pushing for this, and there's a lot of research being done because obviously there will be fallout. And what's interesting is more and more companies seem to be at least interested in adopting a 4-day work model. So the advocacy group is called 4-Day Week Global, and Charlotte LOCKHART is the CEO and on the line right now. Thanks for being with us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
Can you tell us, first of all, when I say more and more companies are beginning to adopt this model, am I being accurate?
You certainly are. It's certainly post-pandemic and particularly in 2023, it's become much more mainstream. As we're having employers say when they tell their staff that they're going to do it, obviously the staff are quite happy, but when they tell their customers and other business people that they know, that a lot of people are going, oh, so you're going to do that too.
So it really is catching on. Can you tell us some of the reasons that employers would want to do this and also some of the reasons perhaps that they might resist doing this?
Yeah, so I mean, the obvious reason that everybody knows is your staff love it. But the more important thing is that when we take people through our pilot programs, we encourage them to be clear about what productivity is, so that actually what you're looking to do is improve the productivity so people can actually do their jobs in less time and not impact on the profitability of the company. And our research shows that this is entirely possible, and not only possible in a 6-month pilot program, but possible over time as well.
So I'm wondering, when you say that, the productivity is obviously the big issue here, right? Mm-hmm. No employer wants to say, okay, you can have a 4-day work week and we'll figure out how to make up that time. Are we talking about over the course of this 4 days that are worked, where the hours are extended as a rule, or not?
Or you're just getting more done in those hours?
You're just getting more done in those hours. And so, and it also might not be a 4-day week. What we're talking about is a meaningful reduction in work time. And we have a principle called 100-80-100, where you pay 100%, 80% time is worked, but 100% productivity is the other part of the contract with your employees. And so the reason why businesses are more productive in less time is because their staff are healthier and happier, but also they've had a meaningful conversation about what is productive work in our business, and they're able to put aside a number of the things that really don't add to what is the customer output that you're trying to achieve.
Charlotte, it made me think of kind of like a bonus structure almost, right? Like an incentive. You work a little bit harder, you get a bonus, you get a reward for doing so. So here the reward is time and more of a life-work balance. Am I getting the right idea?
Absolutely, and let's face it, time is the one thing that we can all spend in the way that most suits us. So it's a very attractive bonus to be able to offer. But we're also not necessarily, our research doesn't show that people are necessarily feeling like they're having to work harder. They're just working smarter. They're just working in a better way. So it's not about feeling more stressed and feeling like you're just rushing all day. It's about putting aside some of those things that you do in the day that just don't make a meaningful difference to the productive outcome. And when people are happier at work and healthier at work, I mean, it's not rocket science to understand that they are better performers when they're at work.
I would just ask one other thing. I'm not sure that I understand this entirely. As a pilot project, you commit to your company to do this for 6 months. What's the reaction at the end of 6 months going to be, or what do you expect it to be? That they would adopt this full time?
Yes, well, that's what we find. So we've been running pilot programs for just over 2 years now. And that's what we find, is that people do adopt it in the long term. 94% of companies continue on with it. Some of those that don't continue on come back to it later. It's just a timing issue for them as far as businesses are concerned. Others have a new owner that perhaps isn't quite on board with the idea. There's a number of reasons why companies don't. But the vast majority of companies do continue.
Okay.
Wow.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, on the other side of this, so it's one thing to talk about it theoretically and the companies that are doing it, but there are companies, including in Canada, that do this, and one of them is a company called Sensai Labs. They're based in Toronto. They're a software company, and our next guest actually works at the company as part of this project.
AYESHA KHAN joins us now, and she has been doing this, a 4-day work week. Hi, AYESHA. Thank you for your time today.
Hi, Erin. Hi, Natasha.
So tell us a little bit about how this has affected your day-to-day life, and I would say your work-life balance.
Yeah, I think this has been a fantastic experience for us. The ability to get time back for yourself, to be more organized, to be more productive in your in the work that you do, but also to know that you have an extra day to go and maybe do groceries or spend quality time with your kids when they're off of school. Things like that, where you're getting, you're really getting a chance to set yourself up for success for, both mentally, physically. It's been invaluable for us.
Are you better at your job? I'll tell you how I was thinking about this, AYESHA. I was thinking about how so often we're multitasking, right? You've got a job to do, but at the same time, you've got to make a dentist appointment or change that or pay that bill, and you're trying to get it all kind of done at the same time. So do you find that because you've got time to do that outside of work, you're actually better at your job?
Absolutely. I think, as Charlotte mentioned, at the start of the pilot, all the organizations have to kind of go through this exercise of finding efficiencies, in their company, right? We did a similar thing, and we've all seen the memes of, this meeting could have been an email, right? So I think what it allows us to do is everybody is in on it. We all have a singular mission. So not only are you more productive, but you're able to have a sense of accountability of, I want to do my part to make it successful. Because you are doing meaningful work, because now we know how the work that we do has a direct impact. It's been transformational, I would say, for our organization and for ourselves personally. And now, as you say, like on the other side, being able to know that, I can schedule a appointment on, a Friday, or I can take care of a lot of the things that I would, have to either find time for, or I'm rushing, or I'm not giving myself the mental space for. I have that time now.
I would just want to ask one thing. So obviously you have coworkers, you have people who probably, work at other companies not doing this. How jealous are they of you?
Oh my God, they hate me.
Oops.
I might feel that way a little bit myself. I'm just teasing. And then last question is, what happens when stuff has to get done on a Friday, or are those tasks always allocated to other days? I mean, work stuff.
So the way that our company has kind of, orchestrated this is Fridays are there are still people, working on Fridays. So we've got kind of like a rotation system where, I'm in the client-facing role. So there's going to be someone on my team who is going to be online for that day, and then the following Monday, that's when they get their sort of day off for 4 weeks.
Which makes sense.
This is great.
Yeah. And because, we're on a 4-day work week, but the entire world isn't, right? So we want to make sure that we're able to, manage our customer experience consistently across those five days.
Maybe one day we all will be.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty damn good to me. Ayesha, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
No worries.
There
Thank you
go.
so much.
Yeah,
Thanks
you bet.
for having me.
4-day work week sounding better and better all the time.
Informative, interactive, and always interesting.
This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
Things didn't quite go as planned, especially for one man and his wife whose night out ended up in a garage and not their own. We're 3 days in now. There was a problem again last night. I think there was a delay this morning as well, early at around 5:30 when it first starts. But then this story to me, and this is from yesterday, kind of takes the cake. Yeah. So the gentleman's name is Michel-ANDRÉ GRÉGOIRE. He was a REM passenger. Monsieur Grégoire, thanks for being here this afternoon.
It's a pleasure.
So we're kind of laughing here in hindsight. I've not ridden the REM yet. You were on. I wonder if you would not mind explaining what happened to you, your story when you were on the REM yesterday.
Yeah, well, first of all, we are Nuns Island resident, and of course we were real thrilled to finally see that REM arriving. So on Monday night, we decided to go to the cinema at the Distant Center. Mm-hmm. And so we said, hey, why not give it a try? So we hopped in the train and we went down to the cinema. So everything was fine. It was nice, a nice ride, a nice view. Everything was perfect. So we went to see our film, and at the end of the film, it was like kind of midnight. So we said, okay, we're still okay. The REM should close at 10 to 1, so we're okay. So we went back into the Distant station, and we opted in the train. We looked at the signs. One was going to Brossard, the other one was going to Montreal. So we sat down for, I would say, a nice 25, 30 minutes, wondering what was going on. People were coming in and out. So finally, the door shut down, and we had a welcome message like, welcome to the REM. The next station is Panama. So we said, okay, let's go on. And,
let me stop you for 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Did you say you were waiting for 25 or 30 minutes for a train?
No, but we were sitting in the train. It lasted about 25 minutes.
You're waiting.
Maybe it's the last one, and I don't know. Okay. But we were just sitting there.
Not going anywhere.
Waiting for it to leave.
Not going anywhere.
Okay. All right.
All right. So finally, we had the welcome thing, and they said, okay, we're fine. We're on the good side and everything. Suddenly the door closed, and then instead of going forward, we went backwards.
Oh, no.
So now we're starting to laugh, and so I said, okay, maybe he's going to change rail. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So finally, we headed through Brossard, the last station, but we never stopped there. And then my wife looked at me and said, Michelle, what's going on? There's many rails around us. So I said, yeah, for a joke. I said, we might end up in the garage. Who knows, But finally, that's what happened. It took its way back to the garage. So we were parked in the garage among all those trains. So wondering what's going on, but the door closed, we don't know. There's no staff, there's no employees, nothing. So we've been there, sitting there for about 5-10 minutes and say, okay, what's going on? So my wife decided to walk around in the train and saw that little red button with an ear, a design of an ear. Mm-hmm. So she pressed the button, and then we heard security. She said, hi, we're stuck in your garage. Is that normal?
Oh, my God.
So then the gentleman over the intercom says, please hold. He was surprised, So finally he came back about 3 minutes afterwards, and he said, yes, hello. We just opened our cameras, and indeed we see you in the train. I said, okay, so what's the next step? He said, I'm not really sure. Hold on. So finally, 8 minutes later, he said, okay, we're going to bring back the train to the Brossard station, and someone will be there waiting for you to assist you. So finally, the lights open, we go down, and we arrive at the Brossard station. The doors open, and there's a gentleman there say, oh, my God, are you the one who were in the garage? I say, yes, indeed. So he said, I'm sorry, we don't know what to say, what to explain, but since about an hour, the train is running by itself. He's doing all weird stuff. So I said, okay, that's interesting. And finally, the inspector of the REM came to meet us, and he said, okay, my instruction is to drive you back to the non-silent station. So we opted into his VUS car, and he brought us back.
So in his own private vehicle, the SUV, the STM inspector, or I guess the REM inspector, drove you back in his car back to the station.
Exactly. Yeah. Meaning he's not a taxi, so he was bringing us, and we had a third party with us. He was a tourist from Venezuela who didn't speak French or English. Like, he was kind of freaking out because, hey, what's going on? So my wife tried to calm him down and say, listen, don't worry, they'll take charge of it. So they brought us here, and the other party was brought to the Montreal Central Station.
So you had a private chauffeur, and it's funny because I was thinking, all right, we're laughing at it now, but I wondered at any point if it was scary. So clearly it was a little scary for this tourist who had no idea what was going on. Were you scared, you and your wife, at any point, Michel-André?
Well, at the first, like we said, we were laughing about it. It was so funny. But, we are aware it's a new system, and, they've been testing for a year and a half with Sandbag, and now finally they have customer in there. But with a back view, saying, okay, that happened. But if the trains decide to go on his own back to the garage or whatsoever, what can happen next?
Exactly. Where would it go next time?
And the fact that there's no one in the car, there's no security, there's no employees, it's kind of, what could have happened? So, like I said, no harm's done. We're finally back home safe. Instead of 15 minutes, it took like 2 hours. But, finally everything went fine. But I don't know. Let's see. It's a rolling test, like they say. So hopefully nothing. And like I said, I didn't know that would bring so much attention. I just posted an experience. That's it, and finally everyone's calling me from everywhere.
Yeah, well, your experience of going backwards on the train and ending up in the garage, I can understand why. Yeah, you are. And you're very forgiving at the same time.
Yeah, have they compensated you in any way? You're getting
not
free
at
passes?
All. Not even a phone.
No.
No. Basically,
they gave him a ride.
It's brand new. They're willing. They compared this with the Metro in the 1966. Yeah. So, basically, we're not users of public transportation, but no, like everyone, we were curious. I did it. I tried it. Now, next time I'll take my car. It's faster and
so much for that. I want to ask you one other thing. When you got to the garage, when you realized you're in the middle of a garage with all these other trains, you're obviously not going to where you wanted to go. There was nobody, obviously, on the train, you said. I'm just wondering at that point, could you have gotten off? The doors are not even open, right? You're just basically stuck in the car.
You're stuck in an aquarium with the view of all the other trains. So even there, I was calm. I said to my wife, listen, we'll just lie down on the floor. We'll sleep. And when they start at 5:20, we'll get back home.
My God.
So we were just like having fun,
You're a good sport, my friend.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, basically, what can we do? There's no need of, but I'm thinking if it was been an old lady or something like that,
not so
I
funny.
would have gone.
Or that
For me, it's an experience. It's a hell of an experience. Finally, it's very funny. But like I said, no harm's done. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, they will take this as an example. I did an interview this afternoon with CTV, and we went back to the REM, and for the first time, I saw some employee with the SAR saying the REM, and they were giving instruction. So at least there's a good thing out of it.
I should so Natasha, we reached out, right, from the REM to here's what they said.
We reached out to CDPQ Infra, which owns the REM, and they responded. They said, as soon as our operators spotted the passengers, which it sounds to me like they didn't, you had to tell them they were immediately taken care of and returned to their destination. The event was not related to a service interruption. The team on the ground is confident that such an event is exceptional and will not happen again. Passengers were safe inside the train at all times.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but basically, my concern is they were not aware that we were there because they would have talked to us before. It took like 10 minutes, and when we did press the button and the security came in, they told us we're open. We just opened the cameras and we're seeing you. So is the camera always on, or they just open for that's all questions that we were not answered.
Hey, Michel, you live to talk about it. That's the most important part.
You should get some free passes.
Nothing happened. Like I said, we were lucky. We're just looking. But when you have a step back and you realize what happened, anything could have gone wrong. I mean, if the train goes by itself and decides that he runs at a speed involving and enter another one.
It's
we
worrisome.
never know what could
Don't
happen.
even want to think about that. Michel-André Gregoire and his very exciting adventure on the REM on day 2.
on the REM.
Michel, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. You're a good sport.
Pleasure. Have a great day.
Take care.
Informative,
Interactive,
and always interesting.
This is Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
That wraps up another edition of The Week That Was here in the iHeartRadio Network. I'm Aaron Rand along with Natasha Hall, and we will see you next week.
Have a fantastic week.
This has been the Montreal Now podcast with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall.
Listen live on your radio weekday afternoons from 2 to 6
on CJAD 800
or through the iHeartRadio app.